Stephanie? Here. Nathan?
Here.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Any additions or
As is.
need a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
Nate? Okay. Fourth item is public input. If you have something you want to talk to the council about that isn't on the agenda, now's the time to do it. No public in. You do?
And I don't know how to address this, but out of the development on lights, if somebody has any idea where to place them or what we need to do, how many we need, because I don't have any idea, and I think Connie said there's no regulation with the town.
On the new lights?
Ideas.
Huh?
In 5th edition and then on finishing on the 6th.
Second edition.
We can check with Dave.
They what?
We check with Dave, the city engineer.
Yeah, there must be some standard.
Okay. We'll check with Dave, see what he says.
Yeah,
Okay.
see what you come up with, let me know. Because I had a call from Alliant today, about ordering them, but I don't know how many to order.
Okay. We'll take care of, or somebody will take care of that. Anything else? Okay, moving on. Mechanicsville telephone update and possible action.
Yes. Last time I was here, we were left with a check-in with if there was anything that would stop us from doing this project, and then also I was going to send out a survey, which I did, and I hope you want to talk about it.
I did not find any agreements that state that there can be no competition or we cannot allow. I had Mark check too and he couldn't find anything. So as far as I know, we did have an agreement with a franchise agreement with a couple places, but they're just allowing them to come through, but it didn't state anywhere that we couldn't allow someone else to do that also.
Okay.
So have you gotten a lot of surveys back?
Yes. So far, anyway, we're in the 200 some range.
How many did you send out?
992, I think it was. But they're still rolling in.
Yeah.
So that's, there's going to keep coming in as we go. And as far as the surveys go, I would suspect maybe half of what is going to hook up is already back in the line. That's what I've seen in the past. So. But the main thing with us, I can get some information so I never call, contact. So. But, I would venture to say we'll have 300 some of those back, which I guess anyone right about that.
I mean, I think for the city, don't take this the wrong way. I don't care how many surveys you get back. I mean, I know you need to know so that if it makes sense for you guys to spend the money. But for us, I don't know why we wouldn't want another option for our residents, because the more options, the better.
And we can do things simply nobody else here can do.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. I would think one thing to get started on this is the main thing, because we have a lot of work to do. I think you're involved with some degree with them over there putting in the ground. We have a lot of work to do before we get to that point. So the sooner we can get okay to go, the sooner we can start that process.
So is that what you're looking for tonight?
Yeah, if I can. So basically what I'm going to do is throw in real quick. We're going to find a site, number one, and then put our building, and then go from there with the engineer everything, and then get materials ordered, pre-ordered, and so on. Sometimes you're off several months to 5 but also to, and then from there, we contact customers that have contacted us, and survey the individual's homes and things of that nature. So we come up with a game plan to bury the fiber and so on. So each home that wants it. And this isn't a situation where we're just going to bury every single home. We bury the people that want it.
So my question is, do we just have to give him approval to go ahead and start exploring, expanding into Lisbon, or is there a contract that we need to enter into that we haven't seen?
There would be some type of agreement, and then whenever they decide to come to this area, they would submit plans, and they would be reviewed by our city engineer, and then we would have to sign off approving them to do that.
So would Mark draw up that contract, or do you have that contract from other communities, or what?
Well, all we really have is a franchise agreement for the business side of it with other communities.
Is that what you're?
Yeah, it's usually what they'll provide something, and then we'll send it on to Mark for review before we bring it back to council.
So do we need to wait for us to get that before we, or are you just looking for an approval for?
I think we can move forward with it. And he,
That's just done to the IDB is where I do it, and then renew it every 10 years. And that's, my cost, but I just renew it every 10 years and so we submit it.
But they would not be able to do anything within the community until that agreement's signed with us.
And then these once we get everything engineered, the plans and engineered bills are both in paper form and PDFs, and we will send those off to the county and get everything approved with Travis and the city engineer to make sure that they want any changes on it. So before we do anything, which will take a couple months to get that.
Okay.
As far as making things approved, and that's just normal practice. It's something.
So what do you need from us? Just a motion for him to present the contract to our attorney, and provided everything looks good and we'll move forward?
Motion for him to move forward and allow
So
it
moved.
In the city.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Doug?
aye.
Okay, and then on another note here, I'm looking for a place for a building. I don't know if the city would be
How much land do you need?
not very much. It's a 12 by 20 building, or buy a property somewhere. I've been working on this since we met the last time.
It would just be for a building?
Yes, and it's,
Central location or edge of town? What do you
well,
think?
I know one spot I was looking at was actually the city side over there, Dylan's old building on that lot.
On the lot?
Yeah.
Next to the south there or whatever it is?
Southeast corner of the lot, yeah. That green space. I could work something out with the city for me, allow me to do that. So it's central in the fact that it's more south anyway. So, and I'm looking at a few other areas, I'm just trying to open up an option there.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's less I got to mow.
Can you have discussions with him about that? Set up something with Connie to discuss that location and see if there's anything.
Travis will take a look to make sure there's nothing underneath there.
Just get a hold of me tomorrow. We'll go out and flag it out, and then I can grab Connie and we'll do that. Show her where you're looking. Go from there, but I don't see any problem with it. I mean, you have a fence around it or just locked up?
I can do whatever you want. I can put a white vinyl 6-foot fence around it, whatever you want.
No, as long as I say it's just locked up. The fence is more maintenance-wise. I mean,
Well, yeah, I don't want to, well, it'll be locked up.
yeah.
But I don't, and we'll probably have a generator or some sort, and
Okay.
everything else will be built.
Yeah, no, I don't. We'll just flag out the spot and
Yeah, still have to meet setbacks and
Yeah,
all that.
I don't like to be in too busy of an area because we're in a lot. It's going to be kind of busy coming out of it for a way. I didn't know the one, but still have some pipes coming out of there and a big, water run. So something happens, it's out of the way.
My only comment on this is we would have to work out some type of agreement, because we would be setting a precedence like anybody else who came into town. Well, yeah, you can just park right on our property. So we would have to come up with some type of agreement on this, but we'll work.
Make sure there's no conflict of interest or anything too.
Okay.
If there's any other areas, I don't know I've been here since 2011, so I don't know every place in town, but who owns what or
12 by 20.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if anyone happens to know anybody looking for a career, somebody that lived in Lisbon or grew up here, so just keep that in mind.
All right.
All right,
Thanks, Hans.
Thanks.
See you, Hans.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Okay,
Hand.
approval,
Yeah, I'm not coming.
approval of change order number 2 for sanitary sewer rehabilitation project in the amount of $5,451.
Dave's not here tonight, but Travis was gonna go over this with you.
So with this change order, from the time that we had Roto-Rooter film the pipe, the process, how it took to get the grant and everything, and then from the time we actually started on the project, we had a chunk of the pipe fail that we couldn't line, so we actually had to do an open cut point repair. This one was a little on the deeper side, so that's why it was on the 5,000. So, other than that, it was pretty minor for the big grand scheme of everything we've had done, so. You guys have any other questions?
I need a motion to approve this.
Motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Okay. Scheduling of joint meeting with the school and regular council meeting on Veterans Day.
We had already set our joint meeting with the school at the last meeting for November 5th at 6 o'clock, and it was at the school this time. I wanted to verify that was still going to work for all you guys.
November 5th?
November 5th. It would be the first Monday in November.
Okay with everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and then our regular scheduled meeting for the month of November is November 12th, which is Veterans Day. The City Hall is closed that day. What we could do is we could still possibly hold the meeting that night, or we could just, after our November 5th meeting with the school, we could cover anything that came up after that and just in our regular meeting and not have the meeting on the 12th, so it's totally up to you guys. I did talk to Pat Hawking, and he said after our joint meeting, we would have the space, we could use the space there to continue our meeting if we had, it's probably going to be warrants and maybe any other issues that would come up that couldn't wait till the second meeting in November. That way, you'd only have 2 meetings in November instead of having 3.
Okay, and that meeting's at the school, right?
That meeting is at the school, yep.
And I think it'd be beneficial to do it that day, so,
Oh, it's more efficient.
yeah.
So have school at 6, our meeting, what issues after that, and then just have the next meeting the 4th Monday in November.
Okay.
Everybody got that?
Yep.
Good.
All right.
Discussion and possible approval of proposal of sidewalk trail at corner of Commercial and Gillette.
They put up the zero lot line homes on Commercial, which the corner lot had part of the sidewalk on Gillette and part of it on Commercial Street. We had approved prior to this making that sidewalk along Gillette 8 foot wide instead of 4 foot as a trail, and we had decided that we would pick up the extra cost for the cement for the extra 4 feet. Mottinger hired McAllister Concrete to put that sidewalk in. They actually installed it before they submitted a proposal to us for us to review and approve. So we just got the bill after that. There was a little bit of conflict in the bill when Travis and I reviewed it, so we tried to work it out with them, with Mottinger's. Mottinger's did and then get Wayne Novak involved in it. But the point I tried to get across to them is we never once said that we did not want to pay our proper share for this 8-foot sidewalk instead of 4. But the bill that was submitted by McAllister to Mottinger, in our opinion, and Travis and I's opinion, was not correct. So we were trying to work through that. So we wanted to put it on the agenda tonight, first of all, to get approved to do, because they did not do that prior to installing the sidewalk, and also to talk to you guys about what we feel the actual cost should be. And Wayne and Diane are here tonight too, to help us work through this. So I'll let Travis take it from here. If you guys want to pull up that, it should be in your packet. It says McAllister Concrete at the top. And then I also gave you a few. The first long sheet that you have is actually the specs that we have to go by for this trail, this sidewalk trail. And it's centered on a corner. It does have to have the ADA sidewalk slants with the rubber matting and all that. So that's not our rules, that's ADA rules. So we have to go by those rules to install this. Everybody in Novak Edition had to go by those rules.
Does it have it?
Huh?
Does it have it?
It does have it. But that was, like, Travis will go over that with you.
So normally when the city ever enters into agreement like this, it's beneficial for both parties for the city to pick up the materials and then split the labor. We get a better price break on the materials than most contractors do. We get, we've got access to things where, like, they had rock hauled in. Well, we have a mountain of rock behind our shop. I mean, it would have been just beneficial to get this before it was actually over with. And that's what I explained to McAllister when I finally got to talk to him at the end of the day, Friday. Just starting off, we can go with on the McAllister's proposal. Like I said, we were talking about the rock. They got $325 per load of rock. They said it took 2 loads of rock. I went and called $12 a ton, roughly 2 loads of rock, say 32 ton. That's $384, and trucking's $42.50. That's $425 if we were to hire it out. They're getting us for $650. The ADA mats, which we have sitting on the shelf, we would have just handed them to them, with obviously supplying the one mat for us, and then they could purchase the other mat from us. They charged $250 a piece for those. Our cost is $108 a piece. Connie actually went on the internet, and they vary anywhere from $102 to $169 off the internet. Now, I understand there's time going and picking them up and time placing them, but that was one of the areas that drew a red flag for us. They got curb grinding, and the key word for the curb grinding is a minimum charge. Anytime you have anybody come out to grind a curb, whether it's a driveway, sidewalk, it doesn't matter if it's 5 feet or 17 feet, it's still that $350. So even if we were to do absolutely nothing with this, the developer would have still had to pay for the $350 minimum charge. I mean, what we did didn't cost them any extra money because they were paying the minimum on it.
And they charged the whole $350 to us. They didn't take any of that. So the other discrepancy I have with them is they charged $4.50 a square foot for labor for the 6-inch depth. And then they turned around and only deducted $3.35 for the 4-inch depth of the 4 foot. So what they did is they gave a bill for 592 square feet, which I'm understanding because we're asking them to pour an extra 2 inches than what they would normally have to. But as far as the labor, how it jumps up, just shy of $1 for that extra 2 inches when the form's are already set there. It's not like there's that much more work to get into it for that. So there's quite a bit of, we went out, we had Jeremy Airy, and he's done lots of work for the city. He's normally our go-to guy when we have, he's patching Gillette for us right now when we have a concrete project. He's done this. He's a contractor we use. I gave him the dimensions of that and asked him what it would cost to do, and his bill total was $5,347.60. Their total bill was $6,828. And we understand that Jeremy might be a little cheaper than some of the larger companies, so we understand that, but we still felt like the bill was a little bit overpriced and not correct. But our main concern tonight is we need to get prices set of what we will and won't pay, because we've got a whole rest of Gillette to do with this sidewalk trail through the nursing home, and then there's going to be some other lots. So So we're trying to get to a point, so Wayne knows, so the developers and the builders and those know what we are and are not going to pay in this particular.
Okay, so take Jeremy. If he comes in, does he get these other cuts? I mean, if he says, well, I'll buy such and such from the city, the ADA plans or whatever they are.
Oh, the rubber mats?
Huh? The mats?
He actually went and he gave us the 190. That was his cost for them.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's got a markup on it
Probably got
or
a
not.
markup on it.
But that's what he charged on his
Okay.
bill was 190, which is still $60 a piece cheaper than.
Well, what did they say?
They said that we were requiring more than normal, and the only requirement more than normal was the amount of concrete. We made them put 4 bars in it. Normal sidewalk has 2 bar. Well, if you take 4 foot plus 4 foot, 2 bar plus 2 bar, that's 4 bars. The curb cut was a little bigger because of the 8 foot, but it still came down into the minimum saw cut. The pad placement, I don't know if any of you guys ever place pads. I know, Doug, you probably have.
Every day.
It's, you literally just set it on there and you shake it in like you're shaking something into Jell-O, and then you just smooth it out. I mean, it's pretty, I mean, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's not like it's really time consuming to where I could justify the extra $140 for each pad.
So I have a question. When they started doing all this work, did we know that they were doing it? I mean, did we see them?
We were working up with them as far as getting it framed up. They went ahead, he told me too, he didn't actually have the okay from Mottingers to pour yet. He was trying to beat the rain. So
he just went ahead and did it.
Just went ahead and did it, yeah. Before we could come to an agreement on it.
Right.
I think I got a solution to this whole thing. Because every time we're going to have this issue with this trail and everything, I think it's just as well that the city took care of that, assessed the amount to the landowner or lot owner there for the 4-foot sidewalk and what it cost, and the city handle having Jeremy do them all. And because otherwise you're going to have this developer come in, he's going to hire Kelly. Well, he's hired. And then this one will have Delaney. And it's going to be all over the board, and I think to simplify it is, and when I sell those lots, I just tell the people, the city's going to put this in. You'll be assessed for a 4-foot regular sidewalk, and the city will pay for the rest. Because otherwise, it's going to be all over the board, I think. Because you're going to have bids coming from every direction, and every one will be different. This way, if the city's using Jeremy to do them, he can do the nursing home, he can do Novak Estates, he can do Brothers, wherever you're going to put that trail. Because that has special specifications. That's my suggestion, is the city just hires these people and then.
Yeah, I mean, whoever it is, hire the person, and if it comes to 5,000, we pay 2,500, you pay 2,500.
There. Yep.
I mean, I think
That's my suggestion, to simplify it.
Well, you're saying something different than what he's saying, though, because you're saying if the contractor hires somebody.
no, we'll hire one person to do
Okay.
it. No, I mean,
One person.
starts
You guys-
So you're saying the city will take care of it?
takes care of it all.
Get your 3 bids from contractors, take the one that's the most reasonable and the less, and that person puts all of that in.
And then whatever the cost is to the city,
Yeah.
is if it's $5,000, the homeowner pays 25, city pays 25.
And why wouldn't this be split in half like that?
Because we're not paying for, to frame it up and all that kind of stuff is a different cost. And just to add another section doesn't include so it's not really a 50-50 split.
No,
No.
you're only assuming 2 feet.
So Doug's idea won't work, you're saying?
4 feet.
It'll work, but the
modify.
split would need to be modified
Yeah.
according
Not
to what the
50-50.
actual cost would be. Well, like in this one, I mean, the $350, they've got to pay that, they've got to come out and cut the curb no matter if it's a 4-foot or an 8-foot. So I mean, there's just different fees like that, but we could come up with that cost, but I'd have to agree with Wayne. I think that's probably a good idea. That way the sidewalk's gonna be done and we're not gonna have to worry about when it's gonna be done. We're gonna have a section here, a section there. And
Yeah, and, you know, different companies do different quality work too.
Yeah.
This way we would know.
be all uniform, yep.
Work all the way through.
We got a lot to pay yet, don't we?
Yeah.
But it's, as for their bill, I mean, that's, what are you asking us to, I mean, do you feel that we should pay that amount? How much do you think we should pay of that?
Yes.
You,
Okay. Well, I don't know if it used to be your Wayne or...
since you spoke first.
I met with Chris today and I told him, I said, being this is the first rodeo and the first mess we've had with it, whatever the city don't pay, and if McAllister, I know Travis has talked to him, if he'd lower some of that, I says, I'll pick up the difference just to keep city happy, keep him happy.
I mean, and as you talked about the ADA mats, what the city does, like, I'm just gonna say, if Jeremy's pouring it, they'll give Jeremy the mat, and he don't charge you for it. I mean, because he just puts it in.
And then we give him the second one too, and then he just takes that off of what,
Yeah. Or he writes us a check, whatever county wants us to do. But it's cheaper for the city in the long run. We do that with all of our, I mean, I do it with Brecky as far as any water main breaks. We have all those parts. They just come, it's just labor that we pay for, and it's cheaper. There's no that markup for doing the paperwork and stuff. We're cutting the middle guy out is all we're doing. And it's beneficial for the community to do it that way.
so what did you come up with that was a fair amount?
Yeah, we took the $350 off of there because that one says minimum charge. And that was, they had to do that no matter what. They would have to pay for one of the ADA mats. We would have to pay for one of the ADA mats. But the price for the ADA mat, I felt to be fair for us, would be, I couldn't
The
pay.
$190?
Yeah, the $190. I couldn't pay any more than that. I mean, we can get them for $108. And granted, I know this is kind of a mess, and I don't want the Novox to have to be financially responsible for this, and I don't want the new developers, you know, to be financially responsible either. Well, technically, it's their fault, but I'm trying to find a happy medium for everybody. So if we took that and then took the $592 a square foot at the same labor, the $450 versus the $335, I think I would be willing to do that.
And we can work that up and then present it to them and go back and forth with them. But we just wanted you guys to, first of all, it never got approved prior to doing the work, so we want that approval, and then to negotiate up to, if you guys could actually say, approve payment up to a certain amount or something like that. And we can go back and...
Yeah, county and I can get it figured out, and actually, we didn't know which way you wanted us to go with this, so we didn't want to spend a lot of time in the last few days trying to pencil everything out, and then you guys say that's not what you wanted, so.
So it's about $1,100. Is that what you think? Difference?
Yeah,
That's what those are good.
yeah. Because if you,
It's $410 for the mat and the difference in the mat and that minimum charge. And then it's roughly $683 or so. I don't have a calculator, so I'm just...
yeah, that's what I was trying to pull up here.
I'm at $1255.80 for the $1.15 difference in the sidewalk.
I guess what I would say is talk to McAllister and just, you know, try to work it out and see what they want to do, tell them what you want to do, and then, I mean, obviously we ain't gonna sign a check over to them until we make a decision.
Like I said, maybe just taking 1,000 off would be a fair negotiation, I don't know.
But I do like Wayne's idea of anything that we do, we have one contractor do it, and,
Yeah, unless they think they can do it cheaper.
well, no.
then
No,
we're
because
gonna have
then you're gonna fight with them on, you know, you might have somebody come in that thinks they can do it on a side job, that,
Well, yeah.
you know, get somebody that's licensed and insured, and knows what they're doing, and is gonna stand behind their word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
Well, she needs a motion
Okay,
to, first of all, approve the work.
Okay, when we have other people that don't get a building permit, we just don't,
had
They
a
did,
permit.
they did get
They had
a,
the
they've got
permit.
a sidewalk permit.
no, but
They
I'm just
didn't
saying,
have
at that
approval to
time.
go forward.
do we give them a permit so that you can see it when you drive by?
No, we give them a permit, but it's not one of the green or orange ones, no.
Nowhere to post.
So if people are driving by and they don't see it, they won't think anything of it, right? Even though they know.
Not for a sidewalk, But we do go out there, then we do issue the permit, then we also go out and do an inspection once they frame it, and then we do an inspection right before they pour. So
And
they
you did
just-
the framing inspection, you just didn't get to do the one right before they pour?
Well, this was the engineer, because of the ADA, the engineers do all those inspections, so they were going back and forth with V&K. So we actually were kind of out of the loop as far as where we were at in standings with that one. So V&K went out and said, yeah, everything looked good. They hadn't changed some stuff, and they never called and said they were ready to pour or anything after that. They just went ahead and did it.
And it wouldn't
Trying to
have
beat the
mattered, I
rain.
mean, even when they poured, they submitted this bill afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have any idea what it was gonna be charged.
Submitted the
That's what it-
proposal afterwards,
Right.
right, so,
I
okay.
mean, that's what it all boils down to. We need to know what's gonna be charged. And if we're handling the whole thing, we'll know ahead of time what, you know, it's gonna be $3.82 a foot, you know, how much everything is. We didn't have an idea on this, and that's where the problem was.
So
I
are we
mean, you
looking
could-
for an approval to,
I mean, you're gonna get you get three people to do this, you're gonna have 3 different bids. I mean,
We need a motion to approve the building permit.
what building permit?
no,
No,
not the building permit. We need a motion, I think we need a motion to approve payment of this invoice up to a certain dollar value.
We need a motion to approve them to do the work, because they never got that before, and then we need a motion for what
What-
you would approve up to.
Okay.
I mean, it can all be one motion, but
Yeah,
This is within Connie's,
like I make a motion to allow them to go ahead and do the sidewalk and,
Pay up to
Pay the bill up
3,500.
pay the
to-
bill according to the negotiated price.
yeah,
yeah.
that.
Okay, so somebody make the.
Right there, what Connie said, so
Oh,
moved.
okay,
Motion to approve the work and pay the bill according to the negotiated price.
okay, that's exactly what they were gonna say.
Is that-
But if they come
That's
back
it.
and say, we're not gonna negotiate, you ain't gonna pay it.
If Connie.
Well, she knows
thinks
to
she needs
negotiate.
Come back to council.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll bring
if
it
you-
back to you
yeah.
guys if I...
Okay, but she's
I'll
not gonna do
second.
anything that's not in the best
We
interest
have a
of the
motion
city.
and a second.
She has before.
Okay, Nate,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Doug.
Aye.
Okay, where are we at?
E.
Discussion and possible action on asphalt at intersection of Main and Jackson.
All right, so this is me again. When we were replacing the manhole there at Main and Jackson, we found 2 1-inch lead service lines that we weren't expecting them there at all. There was nothing on these on the map. We located them back to the main so it would be the north side of Main Street. So we dug the main up, found the corpse, shut the corpse off, still had pressure in both the lines. We couldn't fix our manhole until we figured out what to do with these lead lines because they were running in there. We at that time got on the other side of the manhole, which would be on the south side of Main Street, and dug another hole, found the lines, and just pinched them off to where they could finish Main Street and get it opened back up. Well, with doing that, we ended up finding out that those 2 lead lines just went from one water main to another water main. There was no real purpose of them. But as you guys see, we've got quite the mess down there in the intersection. We've got a couple different options here. We can patch her 2 holes, because the center one is in the sewer main project, so that one will be done under that scope. We could just patch our 2 outer holes for right around $2,500. Now that's just a 3-inch patch. All the other asphalt's broke up in there. I don't know how long it's actually gonna stay in there. We can deduct the 6-inch patch that's supposed to go around the manhole that we were gonna do, which is $3,300 out of that project, and do the whole intersection, which would be right around $9,500, knowing we're gonna have to redig that up in a couple years anyways. But either way we look at it, whatever we do, we're gonna be digging back up
When we do the water
when we do
main
the water
project.
main. I walked Connie down there. My suggestion, being we're looking at it for probably 2 years, I would suggest to do the whole intersection. We have a drainage issue right there on Jackson and Main. The water kind of pools up in the edge of the sidewalk, so I'm hoping with the asphalt we can kind of get that water flowing to the storm sewer on the other side. It's a heavily traveled area. You're never going to get the concrete, or not the concrete, but the asphalt to match up 100% in the areas where we're making the patches. And there's already a patch in there that we patched a couple years ago that's sunk down again, and we'd be cleaning that up. It's not in the budget. I just want to know, I mean, we weren't planning on finding these lead lines. I wanted to let you know why Doug was down there. I mean, he saw the city did the extra work as far as finding and tracing the lines out and getting those punched out, so we don't have a change order coming on that.
Okay, so 9,500, that's to do the whole thing.
That's to do the whole intersection.
And you'd subtract 3,300 for what the middle was.
Yep.
We would not be billed for that.
Which should never be. Then if we would just patch those 2 spots, that's 2,500.
Right.
So you're talking a difference of 2,700.
Yeah, roughly.
And then it'd be all done.
Yep, the whole intersection. Now that's 3-inch asphalt. There's plenty of grade base in there. We don't have to worry about it fluctuating. There's not a lot of heavy trucks turning there. It's straight traffic. Everybody's comfortable with it holding up for a couple years. Now, if this couple years turns into 5 years, we might have an issue, but even with the patches, we're gonna have an issue at that point anyways.
So $2,700, I mean, to do the whole thing, would we have to saw it all out and square it all up and everything?
They do all that. Their proposal is to saw edges, remove old material, they'll haul it out to our dump, prep and compact base, and furnish and place the asphalt. So they're prepping everything.
This way the whole intersection will be uniform.
I would say for the extra $2,700, it'd be, I mean, I think it'd be more aesthetically correct to do it right. I mean,
How far down were you?
instead of a patch and then a patch and then a patch.
15,
Might as well
16
do all
in the
one.
center of the
Yeah, it'll be
street.
a bumpy mess if you do it like that.
Yeah.
I have reason to believe you're going to have some more problems there. I remember when they did that street.
So,
It was interesting
we
to
had-
see the different levels.
Yeah.
You could see the
We had the
railroad,
ceramic shop,
see the bricks from the Lincoln Highway, and then the railroad. It was pretty interesting.
but I think we should do the whole thing right now with concrete, because
asphalt.
Asphalt.
asphalt, whatever.
I mean, that's, to me, with the way it looked, and to actually, I mean, it's gonna look horrible if we just patch it.
Yeah, we'll never hear the end of it until it's...
I would make a motion that we asphalt it all as one piece.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Pay the
Okay.
money, Connie.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Hi.
Nathan?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing for status of funded activities for the wastewater improvement project of Lisbon of Iowa, as assessed by the Community Development Block Grant. We need a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We're in public hearing.
We gotta do a roll.
We have to have a roll call.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Gary Hughes. I'm your grant administrator with the Central Iowa Council of Governments, at least until Halloween, when I retire.
Good for you.
Kendra Abel's with me. She's my replacement, taking over the project.
He's got that big old smile on his face, too.
My wife doesn't smile as much.
You're the happiest person we've ever seen at a Lisbon City Council meeting. Let me just tell you that.
For your wastewater project, it's funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program, and the Iowa Economic Development Authority requires that one time during the process of doing the construction that we hold this hearing. Purpose being to give citizens an opportunity to comment on the progress of the project if they should so desire. As part of the hearing, though, they do require that we read aloud a summary of the status of the project for 4 basic topics. So, as required for this hearing, it is noted that A, for a general description of accomplishments to date, it is noted that the following has been completed. All pre-televising and cleaning, reaming 2,682 linear feet of pipe, raw sawing 5,463 linear feet of pipe, installing 986 linear feet of cured in-place pipe lining, and 95% of joint repairs and manhole replacements. B, for a summary of expenditures to date through September 30th, 2018, a total of $225,824.90 has been invoiced. $221,162.90 for construction, and $4,662 for grant administration. From $500,000 awarded from the CDBG program, construction invoicing is reimbursed at 35% share of cost, and grant administration is reimbursed at 100% of cost. C, for a general description of remaining work, it is noted that the following is needed. Installing 11,818 linear feet of cured in-place lining, replacing 20 manhole castings, replacing 22 chimney seals, grouting 32.39 vertical feet of manholes, adjusting manhole number 3, and retelevising all segments for final approval. And finally, D, for a description of changes made to the project budget, performance targets, activity schedules, project scope, location, objectives, or beneficiaries, it is noted that there has been no such changes. That concludes the reading of the status.
Any questions for him?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Any more?
Travis, when's this supposed to be done?
The end of the month.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
They didn't get started as soon as they were supposed to get
Right.
started, so I'm not sure, I haven't heard the current end date yet.
We gave them 2 days for this down here, 2 or 3 days. Their lining crew still thinks they can hit their match, their number.
This is one of those projects where it usually doesn't take that long once you get going. I don't know how this rain may affect them.
They've been going. We're down to 2 manholes left, I think, to get replaced. So that's the only thing the weather's really. I think everything's in place. Just getting them here was the longest thing for the lining. So it'll be close. It'll be really, really close.
Right now, we are holding back pay though, because I have not been getting the documentation I need to satisfy Davis Bacon. Davis Bacon being the law that requires construction workers to be paid the prevailing wage for their work on the project, which means both the general contractor and any subcontractors have to submit to me weekly the payroll certification showing what people are being paid. They are so far behind that right now we're holding the pay until they do come into compliance with that.
Any more comments?
So what happens if they aren't done, let's say, the first week in November?
We have to see what we gave them for days.
We gave them 3 days.
3 days. So at that point, it would be on Dave. We do have a we do have a penalty there for not being completed on time.
Which I'd like to think would encourage them to get it done, but if they're not getting paid anyway, it sounds like they're not in a big rush.
We did have a pay estimate on the agenda for tonight that we took off, so.
Yeah.
Now, when they do draw down 50%, well, when the city draws down 50% of the grant that's been awarded for the project, one person from the state will come out to conduct monitoring of the project, which means they'll come to City Hall with the documentation to make sure that all the requirements for the program are in compliance. So there'll be one trip by one person to get that done before we close out the project too. It usually takes an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Any more comments? You're welcome. Need a motion to go out of public hearing?
Motion.
Motion, we need a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Public hearing for change to sign ordinance. I need a motion to go into public
Enjoy
hearing.
Enjoy your
retirement.
retirement.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The only change on the sign ordinance is the height for the C2 district, which went from, was it 17 to 20 feet? That'd be the only change.
Any discussion?
Motion to go out of public hearing.
Motion to go out. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Discussion and possible first reading of ordinance 09-2018, changes to 165-23 sign ordinance, possible suspension and ruling of placing ordinance on third and final reading. Do I have a motion to look at the first ordinance?
I'll make a motion to pass the first one.
Do we have a second?
Second. Whoop. Go ahead,
Okay.
Nate.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll call.
No, this is a roll
Roll
call.
call.
Okay. Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Anybody want to make a motion to suspend the rules and go into third and final reading?
No.
I don't think we're in a big hurry for
You
this.
do?
I do not like to do that.
Okay. No motion. Set public hearing for changes to water ordinance.
This would be an ordinance that we talked about where if they would have a mechanical failure, that they could get a percentage of their bill fees waived due to that.
Motion to set public hearing for October 22nd.
We have a
29th?
motion, do we have a second?
Oh, am I right?
22nd, you're right.
22nd.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Set public hearing for changes to sewer ordinance.
Would be for the same thing.
Motion to set the public hearing for October 22nd.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Resolution 71-2018, approving hiring of public works position.
We've finished interviewing, and the Personnel Committee has made a recommendation to hire Chris Coleman for the Public Works position. He's very capable of performing the job duties, and he has quite a bit of experience compared to what we normally have, as far as he has all of his CDL, experience with all types of machinery and equipment, backhoes, skid loaders, dump truck. He's experienced driving plows. So it was their recommendation to start him at a Public Works 2 instead of a Public Works 1, with the stipulation that he would need to be able to test for his certification with wastewater and water by the end of the first year. If at that point he didn't, then he would go back to a Public Works 1 employee.
Does that change the pay rate?
Yes.
What it was usually when we hire somebody that don't have that experience, they have to work here a year to get that experience. And since he's already have that experience, all he'd have to do is test for it.
Okay, so we're confident that he'll test for it and continue at Public Works 2 position
He would still
after.
have 6 months.
Yeah, he's still got to take his, there's a class you got to take.
Okay.
It's 4 days for each water and sewer. He'll still have to go take those, which is 2 days one week, 2 days the next week, and then he can go test after that.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident he didn't have any problem with doing that. With his background, we should be able to should be able to address a lot more. I feel a lot more comfortable, taking on bigger projects with what we have there.
Make a motion to approve Chris Coleman to the Public Works position
We have a motion.
at the level that Connie stated with the exceptions that she stated.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Resolution 72-2018, releasing a lien on Novak's 4th edition for pavers.
Mark is working on this lien, and I was hoping to have it by the end of the day, but I did not get it yet, so I'm assuming I'll get it tomorrow. But what this is when the pavers were installed on Walter Street, we found some issues with them. Dave and Travis and I were all out there with them, with Wayne and the 2 companies that installed the pavers. So Wayne had submitted a $20,000 lien for repairs that needed to be done if we did not get those done. Those repairs have been made. Dave did go out there and do a final inspection, and he believes that the issues that they addressed, we waited through the winter just to make sure that there was no issues. So it's been almost a full year now, and we don't see any problems with the repairs that they did to those pavers. So Dave felt comfortable releasing that lien. So that's what this issue is about right here. So the resolution itself will have the lien attached to it, but like I said, Mark wasn't able to get that to me by the end of today, so he's been in depositions, but he agreed with it also.
So do you want us to pass the resolution?
Pass the resolution releasing the lien for the pavers.
Okay.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Okay. Any new business?
I don't have anything.
Correspondence?
Nothing.
City engineer report?
Dave is not here tonight. He had to be at another city's council meeting tonight, so the only issue he had was the information that he had given to Travis, so I think we've talked about all of it.
Okay, Public Works Director report?
I feel the logo should change from Today's Town, Tomorrow Future should be the City of Cones, because I feel like that's all we got going on right now. We're in the process with all these patches to have them coming in. They're going to be cored out. We're going to inconvenience the public one more time to have the asphalt company come back in and then re-asphalt all these gravel patches. Obviously, we talked about the main intersection down here. Other than that, everything else should be going smoothly. They should have moved the detour sign off of Washington. That may have to get put back up one more time. If it does, we're going to try to find a safer way to do that, and that might be as far as, instead of being closed through traffic, we're just going to shut that section of Washington down completely, not let any traffic around there at all. The traffic light at the school got struck by lightning this weekend. We've lost one of the control, basically one of the control sensors in there. We've sending that off. They're sending us a new one. They're going to reprogram the one we're sending off and send it back so we have a spare in case this happens again. Right now that light's just flashing. I've tried to get a hold of Ricky. I'm going to try again tonight after the meeting to make sure we have an officer on duty in the morning for school to get kids across, because right now the button won't work to stop traffic to get the kids across.
I did get a hold of him. He's aware.
Okay, perfect. See, so I don't have to. Kind of got it. And the same way with after school, we're going to need them. And then hopefully they got their stuff done, and we'll have that in my hand tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll be the next day. We'll get that going. Cemetery cleanups now. We're going to start on that. So we're to do our best to make sure we take only the stuff that's been tattered. The way the policy reads is we're supposed to be able to take everything out of there, but there's been so many recent burials out there, we don't want to get into that. Or just take what's looks like it's been sitting out there. Street sweeper was out a little bit today. We're trying to get the leaves before they pile up too much on us. And then hopefully our truck's done by the end of the week so we can actually run our leaf back.
Are we done with brush now, or?
Yeah, we finally got done with brush. The weather was a little bit of a hindrance on that, and then we had some staffing that was out. We have one street left over here, and that's because they were doing a liner on it. We couldn't get down the street, but we'll get that finished in the morning.
What's the rain done to you? I mean, for like sewer or anything? Was it?
It increased our flows. I had to spend some time down there this weekend monitoring the flows, making sure that we weren't flooding out the plant. With the UV project, we only have half the plant that was online. So as we're trying to get our plant acclimated to that, I had to sit there and adjust the valves and flowing. But other than that, we've been, knock on wood, pretty lucky with the flows going down there.
Thank you. Police report, anybody have,
Ricky dropped off the police report, and he wanted to attend the, I think it was a football game at school or something tonight, so if you have any questions, he said to give him a call tomorrow.
I did look at his new squad car. It's out, I don't know if it's still out here, but it was out there.
It is.
Pretty nice. Couldn't figure out how to open the hood, but Travis got it, of course. But pretty nice.
do you know if that raccoon was rabid? Did he have rabies?
Not that I know of.
I was gonna say, because that's all we need. All right.
I did notice in his report that there was a report of a dog bite on North Washington. Do we, as that person, I mean, dog bites, zero tolerance.
Unfortunately, he did not bring that to my attention, so I will discuss it with him tomorrow.
Okay. No. All right.
Okay, any more questions for? All right. Fire chief report.
Brandon is not here tonight either, but the truck is here. They did take it into Rickards this last week and got all the letters, the Lisbon, the striping, and they did put the Yosemite Sam on the back of it like they have on the other vehicle, so it looks really nice. So that's up and ready to go. They are going to have some training on driving if they already have not had that, because they said it is quite a bit bigger than what they're used to, so they're only going to have certain people that are going to be certified to drive it until everybody gets trained on it. The only other thing I had was we were waiting until March to try to apply for the DERA grant again to get some funds to help replace the dump truck. I got notification last week that they had some funds become available. They opened that grant up again. The deadline is November 9th, so Travis and I are working on updating the information that we had for the truck that we were looking at purchasing, because it was last year when we did this. So hopefully we won't have to wait until March to find out if we get that grant. Maybe we'll know sometime in November. So that's 35% of the vehicle is what the grant would pay.
Good job. City administrator report.
That was just it.
That was it?
That was it.
Oh, okay. Mayor's report. I have nothing. Council report. Nate.
I don't have anything this week.
Stephanie.
Nothing.
John.
Nothing.
Doug.
We need to talk to the Parks and Rec Board about closing the streets. I need to get on the agenda for that, for Halloween Town. Doing a lot of construction over at the school, or not construction, doing a lot of demolition right now, so it's gonna look it's looking a little weird right now, but it's gonna look pretty nice once it's all done. I think that's it.
Any other business?
Just so everybody knows, there was a purpose towards the Christmas lights down there. I just didn't want anybody thinking that we left them on over the weekend for no reason, so they will be unplugged until after Halloween, probably Thanksgiving-ish.
They were put up for Marcia Light from
Was she able to get out?
She was.
Oh, good.
I think she was able to come to the door, and they had Christmas carolers.
Well, she went to her mom's house for Christmas. I mean, she traveled.
Well, that was a very nice suggestion.
It was very nice.
Okay, any more business? Meeting adjourned.